I now recognize myself for 5 minutes. It is well known that China has provided enormous support to Russia's defense industrial base. The administration has taken limited steps to try to sever this malign relationship between Russia and China. However, numerous experts and even senior officials of this administration have publicly admitted that Russia's defense industrial base is improving and that China's support has been indispensable to this development. Assistant Secretary O'Brien, this administration's attempts to curtail China's support of Russia's illegal war in Ukraine are failing. Why is this administration not taking greater action to sever this malign relationship?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's true, Russia stays on the battlefield because of Chinese support. The greatest threat to European security now is being bankrolled by China. What we have done, in particular over the last 6 months, as other sanctions have limited Russians' options for markets, is highlight this role China is playing. I see a marked difference in the way our European allies discuss their relationships with China as a result. China is being put to a test of whether it believes it has a future of economic relationships in Europe or it wants to support Russia in this war that we will not allow to succeed. And that choice is one that will frankly take a little time to work through. We are attempting to focus their minds with a whole set of export controls and sanctions that, including a package recently released. We were joined by the European Union in its 14th package of Russia sanctions, including several Chinese companies as a part of that. So the coalition that has been successful in supporting Ukraine and taking away more than $400 billion from Russia, that's 4 years of its military budget, is very much focused on China's role. And that is putting China into quite a difficult position.
Assistant Secretary O'Brien, the State Department has announced today that you will be visiting Azerbaijan later this week and that you will meet with President Aliyev. What message will you deliver to President Aliyev, and will you make clear that there will be consequences for any future threats or aggression against Armenia?
Thank you for that. Yes, I will be there on tomorrow night. We are very clear with President Aliyev that this is a time to make peace. And it's a matter of not just Azerbaijan, which is hoping to be respected as a global leader when it hosts the Conference of Parties on climate change, but it's a matter for that entire region and for Central Asia. All of those countries now export to the world only through China or Russia. For them to have a path out, they need to work through Azerbaijan. One road goes through Georgia to the Black Sea, but another, potentially much larger road would go through Azerbaijan, Armenia, and Turkey. And in that regard, we need a peace agreement between Azerbaijan and Armenia to put an end to the war and the horrible conflict that has existed since the 90s. And our message is it's time to make peace, and it's only in that context that we can resolve many of the issues of the war. We also talked to him about the importance of respecting human rights. That's a regular topic of conversation, including Secretary Blinken with him in just recent days, and I look forward to taking up that conversation with him as well.
And then a third question to you, sir, if I may. The administration's policy regarding Ukraine's ability to use U.S.-provided weapons against targets inside Russia can best be characterized as with other decisions in this regard to the Zelensky's ability to use weapons and get weapons from America, sometimes characterized as too little, too late. The initial policy change to allow Ukraine to hit targets in Russian territory did not occur until after Russian troops opened up a new front near Kharkiv, and even then, the administration's initial change was only a half step. The policy has been revised, but it's still unclear to Congress what exactly the policy is. Recent reporting indicates that the administration is restricting the use of U.S.-sourced weapons on Russia, on Russian territory to within 62 miles of the border of Ukraine, well short of the full 190-mile range of the ATACMS. How many air bases are within range of the ATACMS is the administration preventing Ukraine from hitting?
Thank you. So, as you know from our visit to Ukraine together, the greatest gap in Ukraine's ability to obtain weapons was when the supplemental was not made available for 5 or 6 months. And as General Cavoli said, the side that can't shoot tends to lose wars. So thank you for your leadership and your outspoken assistance in getting that supplemental passed. And as you heard from President Zelensky, that changed the situation. What we saw was President Putin attempt to rush an offensive into the field before the weapons that were provided for in the supplemental could reach Ukraine. What we have been trying to do is provide the weapons and focus them in areas that were of most immediate need. So first, that was where Russia was pursuing the initial offensive in that box right near Kharkiv. And now, as Jake Sullivan said last week, if Russia attempts to widen the front, Ukraine can reach out more. In terms of specific numbers, I think we should get a military briefer to talk to you. We are seeing dramatic shifts in Russia's ability to sustain its campaign against Ukraine because of the loss of facilities in the targeted area.
Thank you. I will work with you to arrange that. I now yield 5 minutes to Congresswoman Titus.